Good morning, students. Let us continue with the fourth chapter. Next topic to discuss is refraction through prism. Before starting this topic, let me revise few important points of the last class. There we discussed about refraction through a glass slab. This is actually the glass slab. Okay, and when light passes through it, how it comes out, and certain factors regarding refraction through glass slab we discussed. Listen the points. A, B, C, D is the rectangular glass block, and this is the incident ray. Here the medium is air and here the medium is glass. So light is entering from air to glass, and this is the incident ray, this is the refracted ray, and this is the emergent ray. Here in this case, refraction happens twice. First refraction happens on the surface AB while light enters from air to glass. Okay, so this is the angle of incidence and this is the angle of refraction. Then this ray, refracted ray, again undergoes refraction while entering from glass to air. That refraction happens on the surface CD. So in total, refraction happens twice. And this ray we call as emergent ray, and this angle we call as angle of emergence. Then if you extend this incident ray straight forward with a dotted line, it goes parallel with the emergent ray, and this perpendicular distance we call as lateral displacement. Okay. Another important point here, angle of incidence and angle of emergence are always equal. Okay. Now let us discuss about refraction through a prism. A prism is a transparent homogeneous medium having 5 faces. You can see here there are 5 faces. 3 faces are rectangular faces. See, there are 3 rectangular faces and 2 triangular faces. Okay, you may use any surface or face as the base of the prism. For example, you may use this rectangular surface as the base of the prism. Okay, then we will pass a light ray through one face, rectangular face of the prism like this. See how I am holding the pen. This pen represents the light ray. A light ray will pass through, or it will fall on this rectangular face of the prism, an oblique light ray, and you know it will enter from air to glass. Then from glass it will come out into air on the other side. We are going to study how the light ray will pass, how many times refraction will happen, and how the different angles are. Okay, here these 2 rectangular surfaces we call as refracting surfaces, because light will refract twice in this case also. First refraction happens on this face while light enters from air to glass. Second refraction will happen on this rectangular face while light enters from glass to air. So these 2 rectangular surfaces we call as refracting surfaces. And these refracting surfaces meet at an edge here. This edge we call as refracting edge of the prism. And these 2 rectangular refracting surfaces make an angle here. This angle is known as angle of prism. We use the symbol capital letter A usually for the symbol of angle of prism. Okay. Now let us make the diagram how the light ray passes through a prism. Here I am drawing the cross section of the prism. You know the cross section of the prism is triangular in shape. This is an equilateral prism since all the three sides are equal. Okay, and all these three angles are 60 each. This is the cross section of the prism. I am naming it as ABC. BC we are using as the base, and this angle we call as angle of prism. Okay, and here the medium is glass and outside medium is air. So let us see what will happen when an oblique light ray falls on the prism. Okay, the light ray falls on the refracting surface AB of the prism. According to the theory you have studied, this ray will undergo refraction. Since it is entering from air to glass, refraction will happen. Okay, and the name given to this ray in the first medium is same name as it was given in the case of glass slab. It is called incident ray. Here, this is the point of incidence. Here we have to draw the normal. Always normal must be drawn with a dotted line. This is the normal, and this diagram is very important. Remember, this dotted line and the side AB of the prism must come at right angles. See, this angle looks like 90 degree. It must be drawn like that. So this is the normal. Then the original path of the light ray, here I am showing. To show the original path, you have to extend the incident ray straight forward. This is the extension of incident ray. You know, light ray will not go straight into the glass like this. It undergoes refraction. In this case, light is entering from a rarer to denser medium. So, ray will bend towards the normal. So, let me draw the refracted ray. This is the refracted ray. From the original path, the ray bent towards the normal. This angle we call as angle of refraction, and this is angle of incidence. I am giving the symbol I1 for angle of incidence and R1 for angle of refraction. Okay. Now, what will happen to the light ray at this point? Now the ray is striking on the surface AC. It is inside glass medium. Now it will enter into air medium. So it will again undergo refraction. To show the refraction, again draw the normal at this point. This is the point of incidence on the face AC of the prism. Draw the normal. This is the normal. Since the ray is entering from a denser to rarer medium, the ray will bend away from the normal. This is the normal. This is the original path. This is the original path. It can't go like that. It undergoes refraction and it bends away from the normal. It comes out like this, and this ray we call as emergent ray, and this angle we call as angle of emergence. Angle between emergent ray and normal, and I am giving the symbol I2 for it. You may give the symbol E also in your book, which symbol is given, that I am following. Okay. So this is the incident ray, refracted ray, emergent ray, and this is the first angle of refraction, and here this is the second angle of refraction. I am giving the symbol as R2. Then This is angle of emergence. Here you could see one thing, this refracted ray, emergent ray is bending towards the base. It is important point to remember, whenever a light ray passes through a prism, the emergent ray will be always bending towards the base only. Okay, then some more angles you have to study here. Angle of deviation. Okay, to find out angle of deviation, you have to extend the incident ray and the emergent ray and find out the angle made by them, that is known as angle of deviation. So here already the incident ray I have extended with a dotted line. Okay, now let me extend the emergent ray backward. Let me keep it extended. This is the incident ray extended. Emergent ray I am extending backward with a dotted line. This angle is known as angle of deviation, and the symbol we use for it is delta. Angle between the incident ray extended and emergent ray extended. It is known as angle of deviation. Delta is angle of deviation. About angle of deviation, I mentioned something while I taught the topic glass slab. Angle between the incident ray extended and the refracted ray. This is known as angle of deviation. Here also, angle of deviation we can mark. You know the ray deviates twice. First on the face AB, second time on the face AC. So let me mark the angle of deviation on two faces. Look at the angle of deviation happened on the face AB. This is the incident ray extended and this is the refracted ray. So this angle is the angle of deviation happened on the first face AB. I am giving the symbol as delta 1. Then what is the angle of deviation happened on the second face AC? This is the ray coming out and this is the ray falling. I mean refracted ray and emergent ray. Angle between them. This is the angle. This is delta 2. So the angle of deviation happening on the two faces are delta 1 and delta 2. And sum of these two deviations, that will be the total angle of deviation. That means delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2. Delta 1 is the deviation happened on the first face AB. Delta 2 is the deviation happened on the face AC of the prism. Remember, deviation, angle of deviation you can mark. That is the angle between the ray falling on the side of the prism and the ray coming out. Look at the diagram here. This is the ray falling on the face AC and this is the final ray coming out. Find out what is the angle between them. That is angle of deviation. This is the common pattern of marking angle of deviation. So remember, the deviation happening on first phase plus deviation happening on second phase, that is known as total angle of deviation. Okay, then we can derive a formula for this prism connecting certain angles. Let us see how to derive the formula. Okay, actually derivation doesn't come in your syllabus, still I will show you how the equation has come. Here the important angles are angle of incidence, angle of emergence, and there are two angles of refraction, R1 and R2, and two angles of deviation, delta 1 and delta 2, and the total angle of deviation is delta. Then look at the diagram. This I1 is equal to R1 plus delta 1. You can see this angle I1 is the sum of R1 and delta 1. They are opposite angles. Okay, when two lines cross each other, the opposite angles are equal. So I can write as R1 plus delta 1 is equal to I1. This angle I1, and the sum of R1 and delta 1 are equal. You are studying all this in mathematics. Then here similarly I2 is equal to R2 plus delta 2. Then from the first equation you can write delta 1 is equal to I1 minus R1. From second equation you will get delta 2 is equal to I2 minus R2. Then let me add these two equations 1 and 2. When you add 1 and 2, you will get delta 1 plus delta 2 is equal to I1 minus R1 plus I2 minus R2. It can be written as I1 plus I2 minus R1 minus R2. So minus I am taking outside, then it can be written as R1 plus R2. Then delta 1 plus delta 2, that is equal to delta, total angle of deviation is equal to I1, I mean this delta 1 plus delta 2 is equal to delta. So delta is equal to I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. You can prove mathematically, it comes equal with A. Okay, the proof goes like this. If you extend it, you will get an angle here. Okay, so from this that proof I am leaving, you can prove from this triangle, you will get, by using this triangle and this quadrilateral, you can prove that R1 plus R2 is equal to angle A. So R1 plus R2 is equal to A. So rearrange the equation. A I am bringing to this side. A plus delta is equal to I1 plus I2. This is the equation. Means in any case of prism, the angle of prism plus angle of deviation is always equal to I1 plus I2. That means sum of these two angles, I1 plus I2, is always equal to A plus delta. Very important equation. Okay, if you can study this derivation, it is well and good. Otherwise, at least remember this equation. A plus delta is equal to I1 plus I2. Sum of angle of incidence and angle of emergence is equal to the sum of angle of prism and angle of deviation. Now let us make a comparison between refraction through glass slab and refraction through prism. In this case, the emergent ray goes parallel with the incident ray. But here it is not so. The incident ray, if you extend, you can see it is not going parallel with the emergent ray. Thereby, in this case, angle of incidence and angle of emergence are not equal. But in this case, angle of incidence and angle of emergence are equal. And the reason why the emergent ray and incident ray goes parallel in this case and not parallel in the case of prism is, look at the two refracting surfaces here are AB and CD. First refraction happens on the surface AB, second on CD. These two surfaces AB and CD are parallel surfaces. That is the reason why the emergent ray and the incident ray extended are parallel. Here, same thing, you look at this diagram. Here the two refracting surfaces are AB and AC. They are not parallel. That is the reason why the incident ray extended and the emergent ray are not parallel. So remember, in this case, angle of incidence and angle of emergence are not equal, but it is equal in the case of glass slab. Now, next topic, this delta angle of deviation depends on certain factors. Let us see which are that factors. Angle of deviation depends on, the first factor is angle of incidence. For different angle of incidence, different will be the angle of deviation. Then second factor, angle of prism. When angle of prism increases, angle of deviation also increases. Means they are directly proportional. More the angle of prism, more will be the angle of deviation. Third factor, refractive index of this medium. If it is high, angle of deviation will be high. That means that is also directly proportional. Fourth factor, wavelength of the light used. Okay, you know violet to red different wavelength are there. In case of VIBGYOR, violet has the lowest wavelength and red has the highest wavelength. Wavelength is going on increasing. Okay, so for different colored light, different is the wavelength and different will be the angle of deviation, and the relation is inversely proportional. That means high the wavelength, less will be the angle of deviation. For same angle of incidence, if you use violet light has low wavelength, it will make high angle of deviation. For same angle of incidence, if red light is used, it has high wavelength, it will make low angle of deviation. Means wavelength of the light is and the angle of deviation are inversely proportional. So these are the four factors. Once again, angle of incidence, angle of prism, refractive index of this material of the prism, and the wavelength of the light. These four factors will decide the angle of deviation. Then here, these 3 points I have already told whether they are directly proportional or inversely proportional. Then what about this angle of incidence? How the angle of incidence and angle of deviation are related. Okay, let us study about it. Here you can see that the refracted ray, this is the refracted ray, it is not parallel to base. Refracted ray is not parallel to base, not down that point. Then suppose we are conducting an experiment with a prism and starting with a small angle of incidence, and step by step we will increase the angle of incidence. I mean, we are starting with a small angle of incidence and step by step we will increase it. Every time, for every angle of incidence, we will note down what is the angle of deviation. Then you will observe, your observation will be like this. When you go on increasing this angle of incidence, this angle of deviation will be first goes on decreasing, reaches to a minimum value, then goes on increasing. That is why I did not write here directly proportional, inversely proportional. Once again, if you are increasing this angle of incidence continuously, what will be the observation here with the angle of deviation? First, the angle of deviation will decrease, it reaches to a minimum value, then goes on increasing. So if you plot a graph between angle of incidence and angle of deviation, you will get a curve like this. This curve denotes that when angle of incidence is going on increasing, angle of deviation first decreases, reaches to a minimum value, this is the minimum value of, and then goes on increasing. Okay, then for the position of the prism where this deviation becomes the least or minimum, that position is given a name, minimum deviation position of the prism. This important term, minimum deviation position of the prism, means when you set a prism for a particular angle of incidence so that this angle delta goes minimum or it becomes the least, that position of the prism is known as minimum deviation position. In minimum deviation position, there you will observe something special. In minimum deviation position, angle of incidence will be equal to angle of emergence. That is the only case with prism where angle of incidence becomes equal with angle of emergence. I1 and I2 will be equal only in minimum deviation position. Then another point, when you set the prism for minimum deviation position, in minimum deviation position, base of the prism, this is the base, and the refracted ray will be parallel. Second characteristic, the base will be parallel to refracted ray. Only in that case, look at this diagram, here the refracted ray is not parallel to base. When you set the prism for minimum deviation position, this base and this refracted ray will go parallel. Plus, in that case, R1 and R2 will be equal. Both these angles will be, both the angles of refraction will be equal in minimum deviation position. So, let me conclude. When the prism is kept in minimum deviation position, only in that position I1 and I2 are equal, R1 and R2 are equal, and the base and the refracted ray will go parallel. Now, if you know the angle of prism and the angle of minimum deviation, these two angles, we can find out refractive index of this prism. Let us see how to find out refractive index. Refractive index of glass is equal to sin I by sin R. This is the formula. Here I want to tell you something. Refractive index, you may use two symbols. You may use the symbol N, and the first medium you have to write on left side, second medium on right side. Or another symbol is mu it is. In previous video somewhere I used a wrong term, it is not eta. Okay, this is the symbol mu. And the first medium on left side, second medium on right side. This is the way to write. Either you may use the symbol N or mu. First medium on left side, second medium on right side. So, here refractive index of glass you can find out by sin I by sin R. Then, in this case, I am going to replace this I and R. Okay, the formula for the prism is I1 plus I2 is equal to A plus delta. Okay, when the prism, we are considering the minimum deviation position. In minimum deviation position, I1 and I2 both are equal. So, I am giving the symbol I here. Both angles I am giving the symbol I. So, I plus I is equal to A plus delta. That means I1 is I2 is also I, is equal to A plus delta. Delta means delta minimum, angle of minimum deviation. So 2I is equal to A plus delta minimum. So I is equal to A plus delta minimum by 2. Similarly, at minimum deviation position, R1 and R2 are equal. So already we discussed R1 plus R2 is equal to A. So R1 and R2 are equal. I am giving the symbol R here. Since they are same symbol I can give. So R plus R is equal to A. So 2R is equal to A. R is equal to A by 2. These two substitutions I am going to make here. So refractive index of glass is equal to sin, in the place of I am writing A plus delta minimum upon 2 by sin R. R I am substituting it from here. So this is another way of finding out refractive index. If you want to use this formula, you must know two angles, angle A and angle of minimum deviation. If these two angles are known, remember delta for minimum deviation position, if you are knowing, and angle of prism also, then you can find out refractive index of this material of the prism. And this portion is not there in your syllabus, but it is mentioned in the book, so I explained. This is another way of finding out refractive index of the material. Okay. Dear students, I think in last video there was some confusion while I was discussing the meaning of high refractive index and low refractive index. For example, water has refractive index of 1.3 and diamond has refractive index of 2.4 with respect to air. What does it mean? Okay. Here, refractive index of water with respect to air is 1.3, means velocity of light in air upon velocity of light in water, that is 1.3. Then similarly here, velocity of light in air upon velocity of light in diamond is 2.4. So water has low refractive index compared to diamond. That means speed of light or velocity of light in water is, since it is high, its refractive index is low. And diamond has high refractive index, means velocity of light in diamond is less. It travels with a less speed, that is why it has high refractive index. Actually numerator is same here. So here denominator part is high, that is why the value is low. So velocity of light in water is high, so refractive index is less. Here velocity of light in diamond is low, that is why the refractive index is high for diamond.